All right. Greetings, peace, and power and elevation to everybody out there. This your girl Tiffany coming live on the late night. So tonight subject is going to be dealing with about atheism. So the question is atheism above reproach? And what do I mean by above reproach? Meaning that is it above criticism? Is it above questionary? Is atheism above questionary and is it above reproach? And if so, what makes it above reproach? What makes it above questionary? So the other day I put up the post uh, calling out an individual, basically saying that if you consider all other schools of thoughts being pseudo, right, then you might as well consider all the different followings. So I also mentioned the following is atheism. Atheism happened to be one of them that I put down as pseudo because at the end of the day, what I meant by that was nothing can be above reproach. Nothing can be above questionary. Nothing can be above questionary or research. Okay? Just like anything else can be challenged, what makes one believe that atheism cannot be challenged or cannot be questioned? What makes one believe that? Because it's real easy to challenge those that's in Abrahamic religion or those who is in Eastern philosophy as far as their spirituality is concerned, right? Or as far as their beliefs in a God and stuff. But when it comes down to atheism, what makes people believe that they cannot be questioned? That's where agnosticism come in because agnosticism come into play as far as question the challenge of both theism and atheism. Again, agnosticism come into play to challenge both theism and atheism. So now, before I go there, I just want to thank everybody that been subscribed to my channel, liking my channel, share my channel, etc., etc. If you guys want to share this video, you're more than welcome to do so. If you guys want to subscribe to the channel, please do that. Okay, for one, I'm grown. That's why I'm up. And two, I was doing stuff. I was doing some online stuff. That's why I'm up this late. And I haven't got a chance to do the video earlier. So I figured that this will be a good time for me to go ahead and do my video. That's why I'm up this late. And I hope they answer your question. But anyways, as Brother Unc and them why they be up late. You don't go to anybody else's channel and ask them why they up late. You don't ask them why they do 8, 9, 10 hours videos, do you? I'm just saying. Anyways, so let's go ahead and let's get started. Let's look at the definition of both atheism and agnosticism, and then I can go from there. All right. All right, so let's check this out. So, what is atheism? So, according to the terminology, atheism in the broad sense is an absence of belief in the existence of deities. Less broadly, atheism is a rejection of the belief that any deities exist. In any narrow sense, atheism is specifically the position that there are no deities. Atheism contrasted with theism, which in its most general form is the belief that at least one deity exists. Okay? So now, down here it says argument for atheism range from philosophical to social and historical approaches. Rationale for not believing in deities include the lack of evidence, the problem of evil, the argument from inconsistent revelation, the rejection of concept that cannot be falsified, and the arguments from non-belief. Non-believers contend that atheism is a more presumptionist position than theism, and that everyone is born without beliefs in deities. Therefore, they argue that the burden of proof lies not on the atheists to disprove the existence of gods, but on the theists to provide a rationale for theism. Although some atheists have adopted secular philosophy, secular humanism, there is no ideology or code of conduct to which all atheists adhere. Okay. Now, and then it goes into the definition and types. So you got the implicit atheism and explicit atheism. So explicit means the outside, implicit means on the inside, right? So go down. It says implicit and explicit. The definition of atheism also vary in the degree of consideration a person must put to the idea of God to be considered an atheist. Atheism is commonly defined as the simple absence of belief that any deities exist. This broad definition would include newborns and other people who have not been exposed to theistic ideas. As far back as 1772, Baron de Holbach said that all children are born atheists. They have no idea of God. All right. So similarly, George H. Smith suggested that the man who is unacquainted with theism is an atheist because he does not believe in God. This category would also include the child with the conceptual capacity to grasp the issues involved, but who is still unaware of those issues. All right. And it says the fact that this child does not believe in God qualifies him as an atheist. Implicit atheism is the absence of the theistic belief without conscious rejection of it. And explicit atheism is the conscious rejection of belief. For the purpose of his paper on philosophical atheism, Ernest Nagel contested included the mere absence of theistic belief as a type of atheism. So Graham Hoppe or Oppie classified as innocents those who never considered the question because they lack an understanding of what a God is. According to Oppie, these could be 1-month-old babies, humans with severe traumatic brain injuries, or patients with advanced dementia. All right. So that's the definition of atheism. So now let's go to agnosticism. All right, so agnosticism. Agnosticism is the view or belief that the existence of God or the divine or the supernatural is unknown, unknowable. Another definition provided is the view that human reason is incapable of providing sufficient rational grounds to justify either the belief that God exists or the belief that God does not exist. All right. It says agnosticism is the essence of science, whether ancient or modern. It simply means that a man shall not say he knows or believes that which he has no scientific grounds for, professing to know or believe. Consequently, agnosticism put aside not only the greater part of popular theology, but also the greater part of anti-theology. On the whole, the Basha heterodoxy is more offensive to me than that of orthodoxy because heterodoxy professes to be guided by reason and science, and orthodoxy does not. Thomas Henry Hollis. Right? So now, just to get that out the way, I ain't gonna go too far into this, right? So it basically shows that the different types of strong agnosticism, which is also called hard, closed, strict, or permanent agnosticism, and you got the empathetic agnosticism, right? So it says the view that the question of the existence or non-existence of a deity or deities and the nature of ultimate reality is unknowable by reason of our natural inability to verify any experience with anything but another subjective experience. A strong agnostic would say, I cannot know whether a deity exists or not, and neither can you. Weak agnosticism, also called soft, open, empirical, and temporal agnosticism. The view that the existence or non-existence of any deity is currently unknown, but is not necessarily unknowable. Therefore, one will withhold judgment until evidence, if any, becomes available. A weak agnostic would say, I don't know whether any deity exists or not, but maybe one day, if there is evidence, we can find something out. And apathetic agnosticism, the view that no amount of debate can prove or disprove the existence of one or more deities. And if one or more deities exist, they do not appear to be concerned about the fate of humans. Mm. Therefore, their existence has little to no impact on personal human affairs and should be of little interest. And apathetic agnostics would say, I don't know whether any deity exists or not, and I don't care if deity exists or not. Well, that'll be kind of like myself, because I'll be more like an apathetic agnosticist. I'll be more like an empathetic agnosticist, because it's like, I don't know if the deity exists or not, and I won't really care. And then also at the same time, I'm also a person that'll be more like a pantheist, because I'm a person that stands on a position that, well, if there was a deity that exists, then that deity will be connected with the universe, nature, and consciousness, right? Or be in somewhere in the cosmos. That's what I would stand as a pantheist. But anyways, now let's go ahead and let's get to the argument, all right? Just give me a second. So allow me to explain my position. So here's my position regarding to the concept of agnosticism. I mean, not agnosticism, atheism. So atheism is not above reproach. And according to what somebody put on here, somebody put atheism has become a religion. Some people are orthodox. And I can agree, atheism is like a form of religion, even though they say they're not religious, but in a way they are. You know what I'm saying? They are, because you don't have to use the concept of God, but you're bonded and you're confined into a system. So in a way, atheism is a belief. Now you can argue that everybody was an atheist, but that means that at some point they had no knowledge or understanding of what a divine energy is, or what a God is, or etc. They have no knowledge of that. But at the same time, what can't you say? But who can say that a person that was born into this world then experience some type of contact with some form of a natural force? Now, who's to say that you had no contact of a natural force? You just didn't know what it was. You just didn't put a label on it, but there was some type of natural force taking place too. So that could be an argument. That could be an argument. Now let's look at this. Let's look at this. The reason why I say atheism is not above criticism, because it's always challenged. Because see, those who are atheists tend to believe that they have the absolute answer. That they have the absolute answer as to why there is no deity or no supernatural God, right? Or what we call God. I mean, but at the end of the day, they really don't have an answer. The only thing they can do is debunk the claims of those from Abrahamic religion and those that's into the Eastern philosophy or any other spiritual system. That's all they can do. But outside that, they cannot really say, well, what is behind this universe? Because the universe is only 5% observational, right? So if you can only observe only 5% of the universe and everything else is either dark matter or dark energy, how can you determine the factor of where? How can you determine the factor if there is or isn't a supernatural force? How can you determine that factor? How can you determine that factor? You can't. You can't really determine that factor. You can't really determine that factor, so you really don't know. You don't know what is in operation or what's behind this force, because you only get 5% of the universe, and everything else is either dark matter or dark energy, which basically means that it's unknown and it's not visible to the naked eye. Right? So this is why I like agnosticism, because even though I might have my own little beliefs in pantheism and whatnot, agnosticism can still question things. It can still put different things up to the challenge. It can challenge not only theism, but pantheism and atheism. It can challenge all those three components and question where, for atheists, if there is no God, then prove there is no God, besides debunking the claims of the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, or any other spiritual philosophy. Use the scientific knowledge to actually prove that there is no God, or there is no natural force, or some type of divine being that's behind this natural force. Prove that. How long have you been on earth to actually prove that? Because at the end of the day, we don't really know how old the earth is. But according to science, they say the earth is around 6.5 billion years old, right? And they say the universe is around 13.5 billion years old. All right, approximately. But we don't know exactly what was happening, what was taking place as far as the formation of the earth and how it came into existence, or the formation of the universe and how it came into existence. So we don't really know what played a part in that. So at the end of the day, we're only going by subjectivity. So atheism is based on subjectivity, just like theism is based on subjectivity, and pantheism as well. Okay, so agnostics, they can challenge somebody that's a pantheist and say, okay, you say God is one with the universe. Well, explain how God is one with the universe. Why do you believe that God is one with the universe? How do you know that? And then somebody that's a theist that say, well, God does exist. Well, if God does exist, well, prove God's existence. Where is God's existence at? Besides in the religious textbooks, besides in the philosophical belief system. Prove exactly where is God at. So that's one thing that I respect about agnosticism, because it's always open for question and it's always challenging various forms of different schools of thought. So whether it be theism, pantheism, atheism, or pantheism, pantheism deals with that the universe is beneath God. So God is over the universe and the universe is secondary to God. So you got to look at that. So anybody that say that atheism cannot be challenged or cannot be questioned is wrong, because it can be challenged and it can be questioned. And science does not give you every answer to what is going on in the universe. As a matter of fact, science still has an ongoing research regard to the universe, regard to the planet Earth, and regard to everything else. Physicists, if science had all the answers, right, the physicists would not be going right here trying to figure out what consciousness is, or if there is a supernatural. Physicists are asking questions as far as where is the supernatural at? Where does consciousness play in a role into humans' daily lives, or humans' productivity, as far as the humans' characteristics concerned? How does consciousness play a part in that? So there's so many questions that are always up on the table that has not been answered, and a lot of things are based on hypotheses, or they're very hypothetical. So everything is not going to be It's not going to be able to go through scientific methodology, right? It's not going to be a quick fix answer right away. It's going to still be an ongoing research and ongoing question that may not get answered right away. Okay. So yeah, that's where I stand on my position. That's why I said that. So the whole point of me making the post that I made on Facebook, for those of you that follow me on Facebook, right, is basically saying that anything could be challenged. Anything could be questioned. Nothing is above reproach. Remember that. Anything could be questioned. Anything could be challenged. Nothing is above reproach. Nothing is above criticism. Anything could be questioned. Anything could be analyzed. That's including atheism. Atheism can be questioned and it can be criticized. So those in the atheist community, they don't have the absolute answer. Because if they had the absolute answer, they would not be totally relying on science. I'm going to say that again. They do not have the absolute answer because they would not be totally relying on science. If they did. All right? So that's where I stand on my position about this. Okay? So, and I'm going to make this real fast. When I did that, when I said what I said on Facebook, it was not to offend anybody. Of course, it's going to be offensive to those who may be in various schools of thought. But at the end of the day, it's just to basically sit back and think, well, you know what? That's a good question. Well, so maybe, just maybe, that means that what I believe in or what system I follow can be challenged at any time. It could be put on the table at any time. And that's what people got to understand. It can be put on the table. So by a person like me who may follow the concept of pantheism, right? My stuff can be put on the table. My belief can be challenged. Okay? As somebody who likes to study Taoism, that could be challenged. So nothing is above reproach, and it just is what it is. And people have to accept that. And if you think that atheists are above reproach, then you're lying to yourself. Then you're not being wise. So there's going to be so many questions regarding to the concept of atheism. And you know, even agnosticism can have its own. It can also be reproach as well. You know what I'm saying? It's not above that either, you know. So as I read in the article, you have different form of Gnosticism. You have the strong agnostics, you got the weak agnostics, and then you got the apathetic agnostics. The apathetic agnostics said, well, we don't know if God exists, or we don't know God don't exist, but we don't care if God exists or not exists. We just only here as humans. I mean, just think about it. Now, atheists and agnosticism does have a lot in common, though, because they take a stance on challenging religion ideology, and they don't have a particular spiritual system they follow by. Okay? So they both do have something in common, but at the same time, they're not the same. They're totally different. So they have commonality and they have differences. All right. So other than that, that's all I wanted to talk about. That's all I wanted to build on this late night. So if anybody wants to like watch this video and see what the subject is about, that's basically what the subject is. So I have nothing else to really say on this. I say all that I really have to say. So yeah. But anyways, thank you guys that have been watching my channel, subscribing to my channel, and supporting my channel. Please continue to do so. With that being said, peace and power, elevation be to all of you. This your girl Tiffany. And I'm logging off saying deuces. And remember, just think about this. Just realize that nothing is above reproach and nothing is above criticism. All right? Peace. Thank you.